Hello, everyone. Before diving into today's story, I'd like to introduce a little game we'll be playing in each of my videos. If you're the first to catch any words I mispronounce or any other production errors and provide a timestamp in the comments, I'll not only pin your comment at the top, but also use it to improve future content. So, let's get started and happy listening. Chapter 24, Shadows and Echoes. Inside the sprawling canopy of the Forest of Death, Naruto's shadow clone, cunningly morphed into Orochimaru, reveled in leading the Leaf Ninjas on a wild chase. His laugh echoed, full of mischief, teasing those who pursued him. "Come on, is that all you've got?" The clone sneered, effortlessly avoiding a series of kunai hurled his way. "Maybe if you trained more and snacked less, you'd stand a chance," he teased another ninja, pointing at the ninja's slightly bulky waistline. The Leaf Ninjas, each red-faced and flustered, shot back retorts, but the clone's nimble escapes and snappy comebacks made it clear who had the upper hand. "Did you learn those moves from a sloth?" he mocked another. Even in disguise, Naruto's penchant for prankster side was hard to mask. However, this playful pursuit took a sudden turn when the clone inadvertently crossed paths with Anko and her team. Watching the scene unfold, Anko recognized the familiar traits of Orochimaru and, without hesitation, ordered a surprise fireball jutsu. The Orochimaru clone barely had time to register the approaching flames before being consumed, causing an immediate dispersal. The once animated forest fell into an unsettling silence. Moments of triumph were quickly replaced by a growing dread amongst the Leaf Ninjas. Anko's voice broke through, heavy with realization that was just a clone. Orochimaru is still here. The jesting atmosphere of the chase was completely obliterated. The Leaf Ninjas exchanged worried glances. Their mission had just turned even more perilous. "We've been played," one murmured. Another, staring deep into the forest's heart, voiced what they all feared: Orochimaru is watching. And now, he knows our every move. The shadows of the forest seemed to deepen, the weight of the looming threat pressing down on every ninja. In the heart of the Forest of Death, Team 7 faced off against the formidable presence of Orochimaru. The dense atmosphere was palpable with tension, the menacing sounds of battle echoing throughout. Sasuke, his Sharingan aflame, evaded a vicious attack. "This is bad. He's just toying with us. We're constantly on the back foot." Simultaneously, Naruto unleashed a Rasengan, managing to push Orochimaru back, if only for a moment. "We need a strategy," he muttered, catching his breath. Amid the chaos, Sakura's voice rose above the fray. "We can't keep this up. We'll be worn out." Suddenly, memories from Naruto's dispersed shadow clone flowed into his consciousness. "Damn it," Naruto exclaimed, "the clone in Orochimaru's disguise couldn't lead the backup here. But now the whole Leaf Village believes Orochimaru is lurking in this forest." Sasuke, parrying another strike, hissed, "So, no reinforcements?" "Looks that way," Naruto replied, the weight of their situation evident in his tone. With her analytical mind racing, Sakura suggested, "We need a diversion. Something to divide his focus." Naruto's eyes sparkled with a hint of a plan. "I have an idea. But it'll require absolute trust from both of you." Sasuke and Sakura, without hesitation, nodded in agreement. United in purpose, they readied themselves to turn the tides of the battle against the cunning Orochimaru. Amidst their fierce battle against Orochimaru, the tide seemed against them. Yet Naruto's voice rang clear, cutting through the chaos of combat. "Listen up," he yelled, narrowly dodging a venomous strike. "We're rolling the dice here. I can't guarantee this will work." Sasuke, brimming with determination, parried one of Orochimaru's moves, growling, "Spit it out, Naruto." We need to make as much noise as possible, Naruto declared, narrowly avoiding another of Orochimaru's attacks. We need to signal our location to any potential backup. Stealth won't be our ally here. Remember, it's Orochimaru who's trespassing, not us. We have the hidden leaf behind us. Channeling her chakra, Sakura's fist met the ground, causing a deafening thud. Like this, she called out. Exactly. Naruto acknowledged, launching a series of explosive kunai in every direction. A fierce glint appeared in Sasuke's eyes. I could use my Mangekyo Sharingan to cause even more havoc, make sure we're noticed. Naruto fixed Sasuke with a stern gaze. No, Sasuke. If you burn through your chakra, you're done. If Sakura or I go down, he'll just sidestep us and target you. Sasuke's expression hardened, fully grasping Naruto's point. He doesn't care about the rest. My Sharingan is what he wants. I need to have enough chakra to defend myself. Using my Mangekyo Sharingan should be to incapacitate enemies, not leave myself vulnerable. Catching his breath, Naruto nodded. We have to strike the right balance between defense and offense, all while drawing attention for help. We're in a tricky spot. With mutual understanding, their eyes locked, a united front against the formidable force of the legendary Sannin. The fierce battle raged on. As trees crumbled and the earth trembled, the trio tried to strategize amidst the onslaught. Sakura, dodging a kunai, shouted to Naruto, "Can you transform into your full chakra cloak mode? It would create a massive ruckus." Catching his breath, Naruto responded, "I've thought about it. But it's tough predicting how long this battle will last. I can't burn all my chakra prematurely. If I fall, Sasuke's left to fend off Orochimaru on his own, while you'll be focused on getting me out safely." And given Orochimaru's obsession, he'd prioritize taking down Sasuke over chasing you. Their strategy session was interrupted as a sudden voice resonated in their minds. Mind link established, came Ino's voice, clear as day. "This is Ino, reporting in." Then came Shikamaru's voice, "Shikamaru here, and we're here to back you up." Choji's voice soon followed, Choji checking in. "The sounds of your battle could be heard from over a mile away." Subsequently, the voices of Team 8 members Hinata, Kiba, and Shino. "We are here too." Shikamaru continued, "We've placed traps to your northeast." Ino will relay a mental image of their exact positions. "We'll stay hidden, set up more traps, and only strike when we see a clear opening." Naruto grinned, a spark of hope in his eyes. "Good call, Shikamaru. We'll be the frontline combat specialists. Let's give Orochimaru a taste of the Hidden Leaf's unity." With the newfound support, Team 7's spirits lifted, their resolve hardened. Orochimaru was about to face not just 3, but the collective might of the Hidden Leaf's next generation. With Orochimaru relentlessly pursuing them, Naruto and his friends led the powerful Sannin on a merry chase through a maze of traps in the forest. "Come on, Orochimaru. Experience the latest attractions from the Hidden Leaf's funhouse." Naruto taunted gleefully as they darted through the trees. The first trap was set off, a net bursting from the ground, ensnaring Orochimaru momentarily. With a swift movement, he slashed through it, but not before Kiba and Akamaru zoomed by, dropping a small bomb of stink gas. The potent odor made Orochimaru's eyes water. "Having a little nasal trouble there?" Sasuke quipped, not slowing his pace. Their escapades continued, with Sakura setting off a series of smoke bombs. As vibrant clouds enveloped the area, Orochimaru found himself stuck in a pit filled with mud. Of all things. "Mud," he grumbled, looking even more annoyed. "It's the forest special, Luxurious, don't you think? Sakura shot back with a sly grin. Amid the chaos, Naruto banged on a makeshift drum, emphasizing, "Keep the noise up. We need attention." Realizing they could amplify their efforts, Naruto questioned Ino, "If we can identify the locations of nearby teams, can you link with them to relay our position?" Ino nodded, "Yes, but I need to disconnect our current mind link temporarily. Relaying precise coordinates while maintaining a link with all of you would overwhelm me. I need to prioritize." "Okay," Naruto said. "Hinata, with your Byaku gone, Shino and Kiba's tracking, find any nearby teams. Once you do, Ino can connect and relay our position." Hinata, in partnership with Kiba, quickly affirmed. "Got it. We'll locate the teams and Ino will request for help." Hinata said inside her head to Kiba and Shino, "I can see someone at 3 o'clock northwest about 3 miles away. They are too far away for me to recognize them." Kiba and Shino used their tracking abilities and said it is a group of about 50 ninja including Anko-sensei. Hinata state, "Normally my Byakugan has a range limit of 2 miles, but with our combined skill and mind link, Team 8 increase our tracking range is up to 3 miles. Ino took a deep breath. "Dropping our mind link in 3, 2, 1. Be ready." As Orochimaru continued his pursuit, now dodging slick patches of oil and bouncy springs courtesy of Shikamaru and Choji, his frustration was palpable. "You children have turned this into a farce." With each subsequent trap and diversion, the youngsters reveled in their combined strength and unity. Their strategy not only showcased their skills, but also highlighted the heart and humor of the Hidden Leaf's younger generation. Facing down danger, they proved that unity and wit were potent tools in any ninja's arsenal. Amidst the dense foliage and the ominous shadows of the Forest of Death, Naruto and his team cunningly led Orochimaru into a series of uproarious traps. Initially, Orochimaru found himself caught in a net that hoisted him skywards. Suspended in midair, he angrily cut himself free. No sooner had he landed than he stepped on Choji's perfectly placed slippery banana peels. Like a character from a slapstick comedy, the usually poised Sannin skidded uncontrollably into a tree, meeting a waiting shadow technique set up by Shikamaru. Trapped, Orochimaru looked like he was performing a comical jig. Kiba couldn't resist commenting, "Never knew the mighty Orochimaru had such unique dance skills." Even Sasuke, often stoic and reserved, smirked, "Seems like he's trying out for a comedy show." But the piece de resistance awaited the snake Sannin. Ahead lay an obvious-looking pit. "Seriously? A pitfall," he snorted with disdain. Yet as he sidestepped to avoid it, a sudden spray of ink erupted from the ground, drenching and splattering him in a messy hue. From their hidden vantage point, Naruto chuckled, "Someone give that man a towel." However, Orochimaru's patience had worn thin. "Enough of these childish games," he roared, clearly not entertained. Just as the laughter and jovial atmosphere peaked, Ino's voice resonated mentally amongst the group. Mind link reestablished. "Naruto, I have good news. We've got about 50 ninjas en route. They're 15 to 20 minutes away." Naruto's face lit up, perfect timing. "We can push the limits now." Ino, ever meticulous, interjected, "Anko, you'll need to divert. The direct path to Naruto is littered with traps, and the most I can mind link with is 15, not 50. I can't guide them safely." Anko's response was swift, "No worries, Ino. We'll adjust our route. Expect us in 25 minutes. Share the location only with me." Naruto quickly state, "Ino, you are doing great. Feel free to drop our mind link if you need to focus on guiding Anko's team to us." Naruto, pumped and ready, yelled out, "Get ready, Orochimaru. The main event's about to begin." Amid the tension, Orochimaru's menacing eyes locked onto Team 7. His grin spoke of danger. But Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were unyielding, resolute, and ready. As the standoff began, a rush of chakra around Naruto signaled the onset of his transformation. His eyes turned golden, and two chakra tails billowed out, casting an eerie glow. The ground trembled beneath him. "Let's do this!" Naruto roared. Sasuke acted first. With chakra flowing into his eyes, the Mangekyo Sharingan activated, casting a haunting light. "Orochimaru," he whispered with venom, "feel the power you've always coveted." Drawing on its strength, he launched a barrage of Amaterasu flames. The black fire, known to burn everything it touches, darted toward the Sannin. But Orochimaru was swift. He evaded, only to be met by Sakura's immense strength. Her fist pounded the earth, creating massive craters and upheavals. Taking advantage of the distraction, Naruto, with wind chakra accumulating in his palm, yelled, "Wind style, Great Dragon Wind Jutsu." A gargantuan dragon-shaped gust spiraled out, obliterating trees and tearing the landscape asunder. As it hit Orochimaru, an explosion ensued, shattering the immediate vicinity and turning the lush forest into a desolate battleground. Through the dust and debris, Orochimaru emerged, clothes torn but grin intact. "Impressive. But you'll have to do better than that." His hands moved in a blur, performing a series of seals. Summoning Jutsu. Out of a cloud of smoke, 3 massive snakes appeared, their hisses echoing menacingly. Sasuke, not missing a beat, used his Mangekyo Sharingan to cast Tsukuyomi, trying to trap Orochimaru in an illusion. The Sannin faltered momentarily, caught off guard, but soon broke free. Meanwhile, Team 8 and 10, though hidden, played their roles. Kiba and Akamaru launched continuous howls, disorienting the snakes, while Shikamaru's shadow tried to bind them, and Ino's mental diversions made them hesitate. Choji sent in a barrage of giant spiked rollers, adding chaos to the mix. Sakura, focusing her chakra, roared, "Cherry Blossom Impact," and sent a shockwave towards Orochimaru. Sasuke, combining his Chidori with Naruto's Rasengan, crafted a technique of devastating power. "Thunderclap Spiral," they yelled in unison. A deafening explosion echoed as the hybrid jutsu connected with Orochimaru, forcing him on the defensive. Sensing a shift in momentum, Naruto, still in his two-tailed form, charged. Rasen Shuriken. A massive shuriken, swirling with destructive wind chakra, aimed straight for the heart of the enemy. The blast from the Rasen Shuriken caught the snake summons, leaving them unconscious on the forest floor. The battle was fierce, intense, and pushed the limits of both the young ninjas and the legendary Sannin. With every jutsu, the forest transformed, bearing witness to a fight that would go down in its long history. From afar, Enko and her squad felt the repercussions of the ongoing battle. The very earth beneath them trembled. Trees toppled in the distance, crashing down with resonating thuds, while plumes of smoke and dust painted the horizon. Through the mind link, the incredulity in Enko's voice was palpable. "Just what are you kids made of? I knew the new generation was strong, but this is unprecedented." Naruto, panting heavily from the expenditure of chakra, responded, "We've given it our all, Enko-sensei. But we can't maintain this level of power for much longer." Sasuke, supporting a slightly winded Sakura, added, "Every move has been about weakening him. Every ounce of strength we've exerted was to ensure that when you arrive, Orochimaru will be vulnerable." In the distance, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura's silhouettes could be seen slowing down, their forms retreating to safer grounds as the battle's toll weighed on them. Anko's voice was filled with determination. "We're nearly there. Rest up, kids. Leave Orochimaru to us. You've done your part, and now it's our turn to take the front." Hearing the resolve in her voice, Naruto grinned despite his fatigue. "That's the spirit, Anko-sensei. Show Orochimaru the unyielding might of the hidden leaf. Remind him of the indomitable spirit of the will of fire that burns in all of us." As the young ninjas retreated, the vanguard of the hidden leaf approached, ready to protect their village and its future. The battle was far from over, but with each passing moment, the tide seemed to turn in favor of the hidden leaf's undying spirit. As dust settled and the echoes of battle began to fade, Anko and her squad of over 50 seasoned ninjas arrived in the clearing. Their synchronized presence felt like a protective wall between the exhausted genin and the waning Orochimaru. "You've done well, kids," Anko praised, her gaze never leaving Orochimaru's battered form. Orochimaru's eyes darted around, clearly calculating the odds. His once intimidating aura was now diminished, and he cursed under his breath. "I underestimated them," he hissed. "I might have been able to handle a handful, but this is too much even for me." Across the clearing, Naruto's chakra cloak vanished, causing him to slump to the ground, drained and weary. 25 minutes in two-tailed mode. He mumbled, "I really pushed my limits this time." Sakura, always the caring medic, was immediately by his side, her hands glowing with healing chakra. "Stay still, Naruto," she admonished gently. From a distance, Sasuke watched with an expression that hinted at both pride and concern. The bond of Team 7 was evident. Seeing the young ninjas regrouping and the reinforcements poised to strike, Orochimaru made a desperate choice. His body disintegrated, leaving behind a slithering snake that darted towards safety. However, even in this form, he wasn't about to leave without marking his territory. In a swift, unexpected move, the snake lunged at Sasuke, sinking its fangs into his neck. Sasuke, caught off guard, felt a surge of dark energy pulsate through him as the curse mark was implanted. As the snake that was Orochimaru disappeared into the underbrush, Anko shouted orders to pursue him, but her main concern was the young Uchiha now grappling with the insidious mark that had once tormented her as well. The forest had taken on an eerie silence after the intense confrontation. With Naruto drained from his prolonged transformation and Sasuke reeling from the newly acquired curse mark, both lay incapacitated, leaving Sakura as the lone active member of Team 7. Anko swiftly approached, her experienced eyes assessing the situation. "Get the medics," she commanded, pointing towards the fallen members of Team 7. As the medical team rushed forward, Sakura was by Sasuke's side, her hand trembling as she touched his forehead, checking for a fever. "Hang in there, Sasuke," she whispered. Anko knelt beside Naruto. "This exam tests more than just abilities. It tests resolve and the spirit to push through adversity. But," she added, her voice softening, "there are boundaries that shouldn't be crossed." Once the medics confirmed that the two were stable, Anko addressed the remaining genin. "This is an exam, not a battlefield. We can't extract them, but we can watch over them. Sakura, you won't be alone in this." Shikamaru, with his typical nonchalance, stepped forward, "Troublesome as it is, we're all Leaf Shinobi. We stick together." He paused, eyeing the setting sun. "Besides, the day's almost over. We should set up camp." Ino approached Sakura, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Look, Sasuke and Naruto are strong. They'll bounce back. And until they do, you have us." Choji, always the optimist, added with a smile, "And I've got extra rations. We can have a feast tonight." Hinata, shyly interjecting, whispered, We're all comrades, Sakura-san. We won't let you face this alone. Kiba, with Akamaru yipping in agreement, grinned. Yeah. Besides, with Team 8 and Team 10 by your side, who dare mess with you? Sakura, overwhelmed by the outpouring of support, nodded, her eyes misty. Thank you, everyone. Team 7, Team 8, Team 10. We're all family. The nightfall brought together a band of young shinobi, united not just by their headbands, but by their unwavering spirit and camaraderie. As they gathered around the campfire, the bonds between them only grew stronger, setting a foundation for the challenges to come. Chapter 25, Nightfall Strategy. As the sun began its descent, casting a warm orange hue over the forest, the group settled down to set up camp. With Naruto and Sasuke incapacitated, the responsibility of leadership had inadvertently shifted towards Sakura. The weight of her comrades' injuries, coupled with the newfound leadership expectations, made the atmosphere thick with tension. Shikamaru, known for his tactical prowess, broke the silence. We need to strategize, he began, surveying the faces of his teammates. Sakura, her eyes red and misty, seemed distant. Ino stepped up, gently squeezing Sakura's shoulder. I know it's tough, Sakura, but right now, we need you. Naruto and Sasuke are out. We need you to lead Team 7. Shikamaru nodded, she's right. It's the reality of our situation. But first, let's lay out the facts. We have 3 Earth Scrolls and 1 Heaven Scroll, thanks to our encounter with Orochimaru. We still need 2 more Heaven Scrolls. Kiba interjected, without Naruto and Sasuke as our primary fighters, a direct assault to acquire the remaining scrolls isn't wise. Shikamaru agreed, exactly. Our plan should be to strike at night, taking advantage of their vulnerability while they sleep. The norm for most teams, including us, is to have 1 guard on watch duty. Our sheer numbers give us an advantage they probably don't have. We have to be cautious, though, Hinata added softly, Naruto and Sasuke need protection. Right. So, we'll divide into 2 teams, Shikamaru continued. Team 1, Ino, Hinata, Kiba, and myself. We'll leverage our skills in tracking, stealth, and snaring to retrieve the scrolls without engaging in direct combat. If confronted, we retreat and find another target. And Team 2? Choji inquired. Team 2 will stay behind and safeguard Naruto and Sasuke. That means Shino, Sakura, and you, Choji. Shikamaru paused, looking at Sakura. Given your emotional state, I think it's best if Shino leads the defense. His ability to detect incoming threats and set up traps, especially those bell alarms, will alert us to any danger. Sakura gulped down her emotion, nodding slowly. Understood. Shikamaru scanned the group. All right, are there any questions? There was a general murmur of agreement as everyone absorbed the strategy. All right, no questions? Shikamaru began, checking everyone's faces. We'll set out in approximately 2 hours. Just because the sun's setting doesn't mean everyone's turning in for the night. Many teams are probably settling down, having their dinners and making camp. Choji's stomach grumbled loudly at the mention of dinner, causing the group to chuckle. Focus, Choji. We can't afford distractions tonight, Shikamaru playfully scolded, a hint of a smile on his face. Kiba added, grinning, and no campfires tonight. We need to stay hidden. Shino, always the man of few words, piped up, we must maximize our defensive strategy in the meantime. For the next 2 hours, let's fortify our location with traps. The next moments turned into a comedic series of trap-setting attempts. Ino, attempting to camouflage a pit, ended up falling into one herself, her feet dangling in the air as she held onto the edge. "Hey, it works," she exclaimed, her voice echoing from the pit. Hinata tried to set up a wire trap but got tangled in it, resembling a cocoon. Shino's beetles, instead of helping, seemed more interested in playing with the wire, wrapping it around nearby trees and intricate designs. Kiba and Akamaru had their own challenges. Kiba tried to mask their scent with some herbs, but accidentally grabbed a handful of pepper. The sneezing that ensued startled a flock of birds, who proceeded to decorate their camp. Choji tried to craft a trap using his expansion jutsu, but a slight miscalculation turned it into an impromptu trampoline, causing him to bounce around hysterically. Through the laughter and chaos, they managed to set up a respectable defense network around their campsite. Returning from their antics-filled trap setting, Shikamaru rubbed his temples. "Okay, now that we've successfully set our traps, let's have dinner." Choji, ever the food enthusiast, quickly rummaged through his pack, producing a sizable bag of chips. "It's not a 5-course meal, but it'll do." The night was filled with laughter and light banter, a much-needed respite from the tension of the day. As they settled in, the unity and camaraderie of the group was palpable. The moonlight bathed them in a soft glow, a beacon of hope in the midst of uncertainty. The night's cloak draped over the forest, making visibility low. The only light was the sporadic glint of the moon through the thick canopy of trees. It was the perfect setting for Shikamaru's stealth mission. Silently, the team of Hinata, Kiba, Ino, and Shikamaru moved through the dense underbrush, their movements precise and deliberate. Hinata's Yak Yugon was active, the veins around her eyes bulging slightly, as she scouted ahead with Kiba sniffing the air, both using their superior tracking abilities. They quickly came across their first target. Hinata whispered, "They only have an earth scroll." "We don't need that," Shikamaru murmured. "Any other teams nearby?" Hinata's eyes darted, searching the surroundings. "There's another team not far from here. They have both an earth and a heaven scroll. 3 members. 2 are asleep, one's on guard. Oddly, they haven't set any traps that I can detect." Shikamaru raised an eyebrow. "That's a bit careless. How'd a team like that secure 2 scrolls?" Kiba added, "Must be combat specialists. Strong in direct confrontations, but lacking in defense or strategy." Shikamaru nodded. "Sounds right. Daytime fighters with little to no strategy for night defense. We can use this." Approaching the campsite, the team saw a lone ninja on guard duty, trying hard to stay awake. His posture indicated he was tired, most likely from the day's events. With precision, Shikamaru activated his shadow possession jutsu, the shadow creeping stealthily and catching the guard, immobilizing him. At the same moment, Ino stepped forward, her fingers forming the signs for her mind transfer jutsu. In seconds, she had control over the guard. The guard, now under Ino's control, walked silently to where the scrolls were kept, picked them up, and handed them over to Shikamaru. The whole operation was seamless, with no alarm raised. Releasing their jutsus, Shikamaru and Ino retreated with Hinata and Kiba back into the shadows. As they moved further away, Shikamaru whispered, "Now, we have 4 Earth Scrolls and 2 Heaven Scrolls." Kiba grinned. "That was smoother than I expected." Ino sighed with relief. "Yes, but we can't let our guard down. There are still more teams out there." Shikamaru nodded. "Right, let's keep moving. We need 1 more Heaven Scroll." Underneath the tranquil blanket of night, Shino's insect-infused chakra was alive and buzzing, painting a clear radar image of their surroundings. His pupils dilated as he sensed approaching chakra signatures. With a fluid motion, Shino gently nudged Choji and Sakura awake, placing a finger on his lips to signal them to remain silent. "We're being targeted," he whispered. "They possess an Earth scroll, which we don't need, but they're clearly unaware that we know about their approach." Sakura's eyes sharpened with determination, whereas Choji's expression turned graver. "Their tactics are stealth-based," Shino continued. "I suspect their combat abilities aren't their forte. They see us as vulnerable prey." "Then we flip the narrative," Sakura whispered, clenching her fists. "If they're not combat specialized, we hit them head-on." Shino nodded in agreement. "Let's move." As the trio advanced, Sakura took a moment to glance back at Naruto and Sasuke, whispering, "Rest easy, guys. Now, it's my turn to shield you." The enemy's presence grew more palpable as they closed in, but just as they were about to strike, the very ground beneath them seemed to shift and warp. Vines, dark and twisted, sprouted rapidly from the earth, wrapping around their legs, pulling them down. These weren't ordinary vines, though. Their texture was more akin to human hair, and they emitted a faint, eerie glow. Spectral hair snare jutsu. Shino recognized it instantly. It was a rare and intricate jutsu, not tailored for direct combat, but more for incapacitation and creating openings. Sakura tried to cut the hair-like tendrils with a kunai, but they seemed to have a life of their own, evading her blade and creeping up to bind her arms. Choji tried to expand his body, but the spectral hairs only tightened their grip, preventing his expansion. As they struggled, the hair tendrils began to whisper soft, incoherent murmurs, filling the night with their creepy symphony, playing on the fears and doubts of those ensnared. Trapped and immobilized, the trio quickly realized that their attackers were more formidable than they had originally thought. The situation had shifted from a direct confrontation to a game of mental endurance and willpower. Trapped in the seemingly inescapable clutches of the spectral hair snare jutsu, Sakura, Choji, and Shino remained poised, their senses on high alert. Emerging from the forest's dense shadows, a trio appeared, their attire blending seamlessly with the environment. The tallest one, draped in an intricate cloak made of intertwined grass and leaves, extended his arm to reveal flowing hair that seemed to be the very source of their current entrapment. Beside him, a woman with auburn hair adorned with wooden beads stood confidently, her gaze sharp and calculating. The third, a younger shinobi, bore intricate markings on his face, reminiscent of ancient tree rings. "We come from the hidden forest village," the tall one declared with an authoritative voice. "Our objective is the scroll you possess. Hand it over, and we shall release you. Defiance, however, won't bode well for you." The auburn-haired woman added, "You've experienced the spectral hair snare, a signature jutsu of our village. It's best not to resist." Seeking to buy time and assess the situation, Sakura chimed in, "That's a fascinating technique. But before we make any decisions, perhaps you could introduce yourselves? It seems only fair." The tall man, seemingly pleased with the intrigue his jutsu had inspired, replied, "I am Eolin, the one who wields the hair snare. This is Lyria," he gestured to the woman, "our village's top sensory ninja. And the young one is Kale, our strategist." Lyria's fingers danced across her wooden beads as she said, "Hidden forest shinobi have always been underestimated, but our connection to nature makes us formidable." Sensing the dwindling chakra of their adversaries due to his covert beetles, Shino whispered to his teammates, "Prepare to break free." As the conversation continued, Choji, gathering strength, expanded his size suddenly, causing Eolin to momentarily lose focus. Seizing the opportunity, Sakura released a burst of chakra, shattering the spectral binds, while Shino's beetles circled Kale, keeping him at bay. With the hidden forest shinobi taken aback by the swift counter, the Leaf Trio managed to overpower them quickly and secure their scrolls. However, the distant tinkling of bells echoed ominously around them, hinting at further challenges in the night. The night was alive with the soft sounds of insects, the rustling of leaves, and the distant echoes of shinobi movements. The moonlight streamed through gaps in the trees, casting eerie silhouettes over the forest floor. Shino, always calm and composed, pointed out, "We've captured 4 teams in our traps. By my estimate, that's 3 Earth Scrolls and 1 Heaven Scroll." His beetles buzzed around him in a rhythmic pattern, their tiny bodies reflecting the pale moonlight. Choji, munching on a potato chip, replied, "I say we go for the Heaven Scroll first. Those are harder to come by." Nodding in agreement, Sakura added, "If Shino's beetles can drain their chakra, we might not even have to engage in direct combat." Working seamlessly together, the trio stealthily approached the location of the trapped team with the Heaven Scroll. From a distance, they could make out 3 figures ensnared in the web of traps they had laid earlier. Shino released a horde of his Kakechu beetles that began their task of quietly siphoning chakra from the trapped shinobi. After a few moments, the once alert guards of the Heaven Scroll lay unconscious, their chakra depleted. Retrieving the Heaven Scroll was effortless. "One down," Shino remarked, his eyes scanning the area for the next team. As they continued their night's mission, each trapped team succumbed to the same fate. With the combination of their meticulously set traps and Shino's chakra-draining beetles, they efficiently secured the scrolls without shedding a drop of blood. Suddenly, a familiar sensation crept into Sakura's mind, the presence of Ino's mind link. "We've secured another Earth and Heaven Scroll," Ino's voice echoed in Sakura's consciousness. With a smirk, Sakura responded through the link, "That's great. We've just snagged 4 more Earth Scrolls and 1 Heaven Scroll." The 2 teams had worked efficiently through the night, proving the strength and strategy of the Leaf Village shinobi. The count now stood at 8 Earth Scrolls and 3 Heaven Scrolls. The night had been productive, but they knew dawn would bring fresh challenges. The first hint of dawn began to paint the horizon in a pale shade of orange, casting a soft glow that slowly began to pierce through the dense canopy of trees. Birds started their early morning chorus, singing of a new day and new challenges. Shikamaru, surveying their acquired bounty of scrolls, let out an impressed whistle. "I never anticipated that our plan would come together this well," he admitted, his shadow stretching long and thin in the growing light. "But then again, sometimes things just fall into place when you least expect it." Ino, stretching her arms and yawning, added, "It was a good plan to start with. The teamwork and strategy we showed tonight was impressive." Kiba, patting Akamaru's head, grinned. "Well, if someone's looking to tangle with us, they'd better be prepared. With 9 of us sticking together, we're like a force of nature." Shino nodded, his dark glasses reflecting the light, "and my beetles had their fill for the night. We have made our presence known." Hinata, always the voice of quiet assurance, commented, "We've come a long way as shinobi. Everyone's skills have improved." Sakura, sitting near the still unconscious Naruto and Sasuke, added, "We need to protect them and ensure they regain their strength. It's what they would do for any of us." Shikamaru, already formulating another plan in his sharp mind, said, "Let's stick together, making ourselves a challenging target. With our numbers, most teams would think twice before engaging us. It's all about the perception of strength. After all, why would anyone want to face a team of 9 when there are much easier targets with team of 3? Now, let's set up a defensive perimeter around our camp and assign guard shifts." As the team worked together, setting up their defenses, Choji couldn't resist and took out a big bag of chips, munching loudly. "After a night like that, I deserve a snack," he justified, offering the bag to others. The camaraderie amongst them was evident. They were not just teammates, they were comrades, each one having the other's back. And as the morning sun rose higher, its golden rays illuminated a united team, ready to face the challenges the new day would bring. The morning sun illuminated the forest floor, revealing a myriad of traps that had been set the previous night. Shikamaru was bent over a snare, retrieving yet another scroll. "This is almost too easy," he mused, holding up a heaven scroll. "It's incredible how many inexperienced ninja fall for these traps." Ino counted the scrolls they had amassed. "We're up to 10 each now. 10 earth and 10 heaven. That's quite the haul." As they continued their discussions, Naruto slowly stirred from his slumber. He stretched his limbs, clearly feeling refreshed. "Morning, everyone," he greeted with a groggy voice, scratching the back of his head. "Did I miss much?" Hinata, with a soft smile, responded, "Quite a lot, actually." Before anyone could elaborate, a soft groan pulled everyone's attention to Sasuke, who was struggling to sit up. The new mark on his neck throbbed ominously, and it was clear the pain was intense. Naruto, noticing the mark, quickly moved to his side. "That's a cursed mark," he said grimly. "Orochimaru's doing?" Sasuke nodded weakly, "Yes. It burns." Naruto's face became serious. "I've seen these before. I can seal it temporarily. A full removal will take time, but a seal can suppress its power." Without waiting for Sasuke's reply, Naruto quickly made a series of hand signs, and with a final touch to the cursed mark, a new seal appeared around it. The sinister energy of the mark dimmed, and Sasuke visibly relaxed, the pain ebbing away. "Thanks," Sasuke murmured, pulling himself up to stand. "I owe you one." Naruto grinned, "Just looking out for my teammate." Shikamaru clapped his hands to get everyone's attention. "Now that both of our heavy hitters are back in action, it's time to make our way to the final destination. Remember, we stick together. Our numbers are our strength." With newfound vigor and a sense of unity, Teams 7, 8, and 10 began their journey, scrolls in tow. They moved with purpose, each step taking them closer to completing the exam. The sun gleamed down on the final location of the second round of the Chunin exams. Team 7, 8, and 10 arrived, looking every bit like a band of adventurers rather than young shinobi. Their combined force stood out, making them the topic of many whispered conversations. "Looks like we've made quite the entrance, only took us 2 days." Ino said with a smirk, waving at the onlookers. "We would have been here faster if we don't have to defend ourselves day and night." Kiba said, "What do you expect?" As time is running out, all the other team is growing more desperate. Especially if they have lost their scroll. Shino said, pushing up his glasses. As they waited in the queue to submit their scrolls, boredom settled in. Shikamaru, in an unusual display of playfulness, began, "I spy with my little eye something green." Kiba rolled his eyes. "That's too easy. We are in a forest. It's the trees." Or Choji's snack wrapper. Ino laughed, pointing at the crumpled packet Choji was munching from. As they approached the front, the examiner's eyes widened, counting the scrolls they held. "Is this some kind of joke? 15 of each?" Naruto grinned cheekily. "They literally threw them at us. We couldn't say no. 2 days and night of non-stop attacks. We were not even hunting for them." Sasuke added, "Some of the teams that attacked us don't even have scrolls." Another proctor whispered, "That's almost a half of the scrolls. How did they even? These 3 teams alone eliminated half of the teams?" Nearby, teams were talking amongst themselves. Among them were Niji, Tintin, and Rock Lee. Rock Lee, in his typical enthusiastic fashion, waved frantically. "Hey! It looks like we all made it." Even Gaara's intimidating team from the hidden sand was there, shooting them a brief nod of acknowledgement. Suddenly, Naruto's eyes widened, spotting a suspicious-looking team from the hidden sound village. He pointed dramatically, shouting, "Hey, isn't that Orochimaru over there?" Instantly, Gaara sprang into action, converging on the mentioned team. A now very flustered Orochimaru had to quickly vanish in a swirl of leaves, leaving behind a very bewildered sound team. "Subtle, Naruto," Sakura groaned, holding her forehead. "Hey, it worked, didn't it?" Naruto responded with a shrug. From another corner, the team that had used the spectral hair snare jutsu from the hidden forest emerged. They looked around sheepishly, clutching new scrolls, clearly having overcome many odds to retrieve them after their prior encounter with Team 7. Sakura chuckled, "Guess they combed through their problems." The participants were all assembled in a grand hall, still catching their breath from the previous challenges. Before anyone could get comfortable, the presence of the third Hokage, Lord Hiruzen Sarutobi, filled the room as he took the stage. His stern gaze swept over the gathered shinobi. "Congratulations on passing the second round," Lord Hiruzen began. His tone, however, immediately suggested that not everything was as straightforward as it seemed. However, due to an unexpectedly high number of successful participants, we have a change in plans. A preliminary round will be held before we proceed to the next stage of the Chunin exams. Murmurs spread throughout the room, with varying degrees of frustration and dismay. Most of the participants were exhausted, having just completed a grueling test with little rest. "This is just great," Ino sighed exasperatedly, glaring at the stage. "Just when we thought it was over." Sasuke frowned, massaging his sealed curse mark. "They could have at least given us time to recover." As the mood threatened to turn sour, Shikamaru, always the strategist, spoke up in his usual languid tone. "Hold on, guys. We might actually have an advantage here." Everyone turned to him, curiosity piqued. While we combined forces and had the luxury of rotating guard duty and taking some rest, Shikamaru continued, most of the other participants had to fend for themselves. They'd be drained from protecting their scrolls, and let's not forget possible confrontations during their trek to the final location. He looked around at his friends. "We're tired, yes, but others might be even more so. We're not in the worst position here." Naruto smirked. "Shikamaru, for someone who finds everything troublesome, you sure have a way of making things sound better." Shikamaru simply shrugged, but his point had been made. The group felt a renewed sense of confidence and determination. Whatever awaited them in the preliminary round, they were ready to face it head-on. End of Part 11. While creating this chapter, my primary intention was to delve deep into the strengths and versatility of the characters in Teams 7, 8, and 10. As the series progressed and Naruto's power scaled dramatically, many of our beloved secondary characters were seemingly overshadowed. The perfect opportunity to focus on these characters arose when Naruto and Sasuke, the frontline powerhouses of Team 7, were temporarily incapacitated. This chapter was my homage to the sidelined characters, bringing them back into the limelight, emphasizing their unique abilities and crucial roles within their respective teams. Ino, particularly, was given center stage. Her mind transfer jutsu, while potent, often seems like a double-edged sword in one-on-one combat situations. By spotlighting her abilities in this scenario, I aim to underscore the depth of her skills and illustrate how, with the right strategy, they can be pivotal. Similarly, Shino's bugs had their moment of glory. An open field is typically challenging for any ninja, but for Shino, it can be doubly so. Yet, I wanted to demonstrate that, with the right tactics, even in such conditions, his bugs can be a formidable force. In the upcoming chapters, my goal is to keep this momentum going, ensuring each character in the Naruto universe gets their chance to shine, just as Masashi Kishimoto intended. Stay with me for more adventures, and as always, thank you for your unwavering support and insightful feedback.